to be right in there. Usually I do it on just the sound, but anyways, we're going.
We are live.
Welcome to the Elk Season Podcast, episode 29.
29.
Today
episode 29
is October 27th. Is that right?
October 27th.
2022.
Confirmed. This just in. It is October 27th.
We are recapping Elk Season, the September of 2022. This is installment number 2 of 2. I think we'll be able to get through everything today of our Elk Season.
And before we get any further,
yeah,
as you'll see when you review this video before you post, I need those shades closed even more because I've got some serious reflections.
Yeah, you do.
That's
worse. That's better.
Now it's better.
Is that working?
Now, and the sun's not in my eye, and now I look beautiful.
You want to start over?
No, I'm good.
Okay, all right.
Unless you want to.
No, I let it roll. Let it roll.
Keep rolling.
So real quick, I had the reason we didn't do the podcast last week was because I was at my wife double booked us, and we went to have dinner at a friend's house. He went to this guy Luke went to Alaska with his dad, and they both shot Alaska Yukon moose and gave me a big bag of Alaska Yukon moose pepperoni. You have yet to try it.
I have yet to try it. And
please.
It's not just that I have yet to try it. I have never had moose.
Really?
I've never had moose.
I think that might be my first moose as well.
And so I just thought, you brought it over today, and I thought, well, let's just do it today. Let's do it live. And I almost ate this earlier, but it's
almost.
Now you're gonna have to commentate.
All right, I will
commentate. How are you gonna say the words in my head?
You know what? I will tell you what I was doing the week before last week when I went to a CrossFit competition. I went to the Iron Games in Cedar City, Utah. We drove all day Wednesday. By the way, I went to a Topgolf. You ever been to a Topgolf? Topgolf is so cool. Yeah. You been there?
Well, it's a brand, right? Like a franchise?
Yeah.
I think they have one in Fort Collins, Colorado.
Probably.
Vessa and I went to. Sorry,
that's all right. That's all right. So we went to a CrossFit competition, and at the CrossFit competition, we came in dead last. Our team came in dead last out of all of the intermediate teams. However, the average age of our team was, I think, 46.
Okay.
And I think the next oldest person in the competition was 43. So we were a little outclassed. I thought, you know what? I beat the kids at the gym all the time back home. Don't worry. I'll get them. It's not bad. But I did have my very first ever measured handstand walk.
Okay.
I walked for 20 feet.
Wow.
On my hands. And something I had practiced very little for, and my other two teammates couldn't do any. Anyway, so here I am, 6'2", 260 pounds, doing a handstand walk.
Nice.
It was not pretty, but I got some done. So I was kind of floating after that. I'm like, yeah, I can handstand walk. That's fine. Anyways, so how was the moose?
It has a unique flavor profile that you're right. You kind of described it as not being gamey because but again, it has to be gamey because that's what it is. It's game, right. But it's not the kind of game that I'm used to eating, in terms of the game, gamey flavor is a little bit more pungent.
Yes.
And this is like a
hint.
It's not even that to me, it wasn't even a hint. It was more like sort of like this. It was like a saltiness.
Yeah?
Sense to it. Like,
okay.
I don't know how else to describe it. It was weird.
Okay.
But it was good.
Yeah.
It just wasn't here. I got to be careful. I shouldn't do too much more, actually.
You can have plenty more. I'll tell you what, it goes great with a beer.
Sure.
I'm sure you can imagine.
No, I can.
Just
I can.
spicy enough.
In fact, when you talk about that, and that's actually good that you brought up, what would you pair it with? You're right, beer, but to me, you really want a really hoppy, bitter IPA.
Yeah.
To me, that's the ultimate compliment to that flavor.
Yeah. My beer palate is not as sophisticated as yours, but I like IPAs. I know that there's Bud Light, there's IPAs, and then there's Scottish ales. Those really, I really don't know much more than that.
You got to be careful because you get me talking. This podcast goes from elk season to beer season real quick. And that's a podcast we haven't started yet.
We have to make our own elk season beer.
Yeah.
Just elk season the beer. Because we've talked about brewing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah, it's a good pairing. It's got a really cool profile, and it's different because it's new. I've never had it. So I think it'll take some time getting used to it. And that's the other thing. I've had a little bit of concern getting a big game animal because I'm like, will I be able to stomach the flavoring of the animal?
Yeah.
And so it's something I wish I had grown up with more game.
We were scarred. Me and Slim got a late November muley. We couldn't even make sloppy joes with that hamburger.
Yeah.
It was so gamey. It was a muley buck peak rut.
Gamey to me is like that really thick sagey flavor that kind of comes through the meat for whatever reason. That's the best way that's how I like to describe gaminess. Is it like it's a real potent, pungent sage like smell. I didn't get that at all from the moose. It was just its own unique thing.
You almost have to be thinking about it, and actually it helps to have some elk. Because I had some elk and I go, oh, it definitely tastes the game. It's not very strong, but definitely tastes the game. But once you taste it, you're like, oh, I know what to look for.
Yeah.
Then you taste that and you're like, oh, there's the hint.
Yeah.
There's the hint of that gaminess. So, but elk, moose is just a more preferred meat.
Okay.
Over elk.
I guess I didn't know that.
Historically, I think it's bison, moose, elk. Like the bigger the animal, the better it's going to taste.
Okay.
So. Man, dinosaurs. Man, that Flintstone had it going on. Huh?
Those ribs, dude.
Yeah, I'm in. So before we pick back up where we left off,
right?
Which was after the first 2 weeks of September,
the first half of the hunt.
I just want to say, elk season is dedicated to archery elk, the greatest outdoor sport in North America. And it is the greatest adventure you can have in this country. Just going on an elk hunt is an amazing adventure.
And it's therapeutic.
Yeah,
engaging new experiences helps the brain wire for the novelty. And as long as you have a successful, I got out of there alive experience without too many hurdles, your brain actually will function better.
Yeah.
So getting outdoors is, I guess elk season, how do I say this? I'm trying to say elk season facilitates better mental hygiene.
It's a reset button.
A reset button.
It has been a mental reset button for me for many, many years. And although I don't know if I ever said it out loud, but I would always come back from a grueling hike where I harvested nothing and saw little.
Right.
Always come back more centered, more focused on my life.
And
it
doesn't matter how much my feet hurt and how sore my back is. I'm rejuvenated in a psychological way that kind of makes me carry through that.
Like only the physical defeat that you go through in elk country could inspire you to the point mentally where you think you need to be. And so it's part of the reason I like elk season. And it's not about the harvest, and I'm about to tell the story of a harvest. I finally harvested a bull.
Yes. Which was talked about a little bit in last week's, but the story has arrived today. The story has arrived. So I just want to recap the first 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks, we go in at Labor Day weekend. Super hot.
We go in with Jared. Oh my gosh, I forgot to tell you.
Uh-oh. Sidebar.
Dude, sidebar. Jared had a heart attack.
Oh, no.
True. He texts me. I wish I could read. I look at my phone and read the text. He goes, dude, I had a heart attack. I text him 3 times. What? Where are you? What's going on? What's happening? He goes, well, the doctor put a stent in. He says I'll be good to go elk hunting next weekend.
Okay.
Then he, LOL.
Wow. All right.
So we were right to pull back when we hiked in Labor Day weekend. You start to recognize this is shortness of breath. This is some real fatigue for him. So anyways, I feel like I read that I don't know. I didn't want to stop hunting.
Right.
Right. You're like, he's having a heart attack. Well, you think you can get help from here? We'll go on. We wouldn't do that, but we would only think it.
No, yeah. Kind of glad you pushed him.
Yeah.
To not, because he would have just trekked out of there on his own.
Yeah, he would have.
And who knows? You never know. Health concerns show up unpredictably.
Yes.
And that would have just sucked to get to the trailhead and not see him or find him on the way out. So,
Yeah.
But keeping him with us, at least, there's the inReach that I carry with me.
Yeah.
And that, in fact, Garmin just released a bunch of information on where people are pushing the button for SOS.
Really?
And I don't have that data here. I forgot to take a screenshot, but we can
fun.
go find it, and it's worldwide, man.
In podcasts to come, that's going to be interesting.
And I'll tell you, there's a certain geographical location where the majority of these come from.
Is it Alaska?
No.
Is it Montana?
No.
Where is it?
The West Coast.
Really?
The mountain ranges on the west.
Really?
People going hiking and
really
camping and all stuff. In fact, 75% of all SOS calls from the graph that I looked at came from like hiking, camping, hunting, and hunting was a small portion. It was much smaller than say hiking and driving, camping. And
for hunters, it's for emergencies. Hunters know the outdoors. Some people just have those gadgets because they think they want to get out and they want to explore,
and then you take a wrong turn. Don't always follow your GPS down that road. You never know.
Yeah.
So
anyways,
for a future podcast,
we had the first weekend. I took a shot at the Wallow and had 3 more elk come in the next night at the Wallow. So I went back to the Wallow the next weekend. Didn't see him.
I was just that much farther out of range of seeing the elk on Labor Day weekend.
Yeah,
I'm still kind of sad about that because it was so hot, but they were just that much, half a mile down.
You were not very far from me at all. At all.
Anyway, but then the consecutive weekends. I kind of cut you off. Sorry.
Yeah. So the third weekend, or the second weekend, I left thinking, okay, they're not really, or I thinking that they're using that water hole still. So, okay, I know I'm going to come back, and I'm leaving on a Sunday. I know I'm coming back on a Thursday. I go back on a Thursday. I'm going to hike the 5 miles, 4.5 to 5 miles in. It might be 5 if you count all the zigzagging that you kind of have to do. But just before I got off the grid, I call the wife, and I say, okay, I'm just about to go off the grid. I don't have a Garmin inReach.
Right.
I always tell her, and it's always a joke, but here's where you find my mangled corpse. I just put a locator on Google Earth.
Yeah.
And say, and really the truth is you have to call David because David's
check. Sorry, it looked like my mic cut out for some reason.
Oh.
But I think it was okay, sorry. Anyway, you're letting her know that call me.
Yes. Yeah, to call David. And do not call anyone until I do or don't call you by 9 p.m. on Sunday.
Yeah.
This is important because I'm thinking it's the third weekend. I know the rut is kind of late this year. Everybody's talking about the late spring and the late fall that's coming. And I feel like the rut was just really late getting there. And so I said, if I wake up on Sunday morning, now I'm just going to pack out. But if I wake up and I wake up to bugles in every direction, I'm not going home right away.
Yeah.
So I said, I will call you. Hell or high water, I will call you by 9 p.m. on Sunday.
Yeah.
So don't call for reinforcements. I mean, I could tell her not to worry. That's useless on a wife, right? You're out in the wilderness. That's what they do. They worry. And not that I wouldn't worry, but
correct.
But
I was sitting here worrying a little bit.
yeah, you were because I didn't call for a while.
Yeah, well, no, I was just expecting that I'm headed home kind of text, and and I sent it. I think it was around 9 o'clock. So, and unbeknownst to me, I didn't know that you had sent a deadline. Or told that a similar deadline to Becky.
Yeah.
So or your wife. I don't know if I meant to say her name, but
that's all right.
Anyway, so I was just like, I got to a point where I was like, I haven't heard from him. So there, and in my mind, either harvest or down, like bad. So
right, one of the two.
Patience though, but I start making plans when I don't hear from you.
Yeah.
That okay? Here's my routine. I'll be up there by morning, and I'll be on trail by daylight.
Yeah. That's if it needs to be.
Yep.
It's going to be. I can make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that, and I appreciate that, and I don't ever want that.
Me either.
Ever.
For either of us.
Yeah, on either end. But I'm there. So I hike the 5.5 miles in. I'm a little bit early. I want to get to the watering hole. And I want to glass mostly because it's Thursday night. I barely have time. You get to the trailhead 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. It's 5 miles. It's 5 hours. It's 4:30, 6 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock. When you get there and the sun's starting to go down at 6. The shadows are getting really long at 6 o'clock. So I don't remember. I have all this stuff on my phone. It's been more than a month now. Or it's been about exactly a month.
Actually.
And I don't know what I heard or saw on Thursday night. But Friday morning, I wake up and I know what I'm going to do. And I have to get a census. I have to see where on the mountain the elk are. So my plan is Friday morning, hike up and glass. See what the elk are doing. See, are the bulls still together?
Yeah.
Have the spikes lost their velvet? They had.
Okay.
And they weren't together anymore.
They'd split up. So their bachelor groups were now.
Well, kinda. So I'm glassing this one hillside. I'm in the gulch. There's the canyon, the gulch, and the creek.
Okay.
Everybody likes to hunt the creek. Everybody likes to hunt the canyon, but the gulch is just
honey
it's just
hole.
far enough away back. It's just hard enough to get to. Nobody's ever back there, ever. You just don't see people, and that's one of the things I like about it.
Yeah,
we found this really cool way in. We're like, okay,
an efficient, easy way in and out. And like we had gone into this place in the most ridiculous ways. I think we talked about it on the last
Many
podcast.
times,
We have a highway that goes in and out, and it's superior to any other way we've tried.
Yeah. And it's so vastly different. But I'm up on the hillside and I'm glassing elk, and I see 5 different bulls on the hillside and 1 cow. But all the bulls are separate. Well, they're not together, but they're not entirely separate. They're on the same hillside.
They're satelliting, if
right,
that's a word.
Right. And they're all going into this one pocket in the gulch where I always see the elk, always there. They're always elk, always. It's just a pocket of elk.
Okay.
Always. So, and I see these two big 6 points. They're about 150, 200 yards away from each other on the hill. I see 2 raghorns. They were kind of together. And it was a spike and the spike 2 point. And they were kind of together, but a lot more together than the two 6 points. Then I saw a raghorn come in from all the way over, and I have video. All of this video, by the way, is on. I'll have it on the YouTube.
Okay.
If you want to see what all these elk look like on this hillside on Friday morning. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're there, and I'm pretty sure there's video of the cow as well. So I make a plan. I want to go into. I don't hear anything. I did. Oh, that's it. The night before, I did walk to the water hole.
Okay.
I did see a lone spike on that hillside, the same hillside I'm talking about.
Okay.
He was alarm barking me.
Huh.
He was really afraid to be on his own, and he was barking at me. He didn't, and I'm on the side where there's trees. I'm like hiking through the trees, so I can see him. I don't know how he sees me, but he sees me, and he doesn't like me there. So he barks a few times, and I continue down to the water hole, glassing the whole time, hoping that something will come in. But Friday morning, I'm glassing and I see all these characters on this hillside, and I go, okay, I know what they're doing. They're going into the timber. They're going to, and I'm gonna go in on them. I'm actually, my plan was to go and find the tracks, not the tracks, but the general route that I saw the raghorn go in. Okay. Because I know that if I do the thermals, when the thermals kick in, the thermals will be moving that way, and I can come. The wind is important.
Absolutely.
You gotta have the wind right. If you don't have the wind right, you ain't got nothing. Elk,
nope.
Elk will find you. So I'm trying to get the wind right. But it's this young raghorn was the last one I saw go into this big group of trees. And I go in there, and I am not, and it took me an hour and a half to get to that point, because I had to go almost all the way back to camp, and then almost all the way to the tree line.
Yeah.
To get the angle that I want to go into this group of trees, where again I always see elk. So I go in as soon as I walk into this stand of trees, I spook something, and I think it's the raghorn. I saw him, but I never got to count points. But I think it was the raghorn, and he started barking at me, doing the alarm barks at me again. So now I'm like, oh, the whole pocket knows there's something up. Right, because there's this kid who's like, "Help!" that's my interpretation.
Yeah,
but I'm like very encouraged because the elk are starting to break up. They're not together. There was a cow on the hillside, and there was one following her.
Yeah,
right, and closely and interested. So okay, the rut's going to happen, and this is good. So I'm not sure what happened that night. That day, you know what? I spent so much time there. All the days get mixed together. So I don't know if I sat a wallow close to camp, the big wallow.
Yeah.
I don't know if I did that. Or if I hiked more. I think what I was trying to do is, if the elk are broken up, that means they're out chasing cows. There was the hillside of, I think I called it Grab Ass Hill. There was a hillside of the water hole. And I remember telling you about it. Like, dude, there are tracks all over this mountain. All over the hillside. So I'm like, well, I want to, because the elk are changing their behavior a little bit, I want to hike that hillside and see if I see the tracks again. I did not. I did not see the tracks. And so I'm like, okay, good.
Yeah.
But what I did find was a 3x3 deadhead muley.
Oh yeah.
That I packed home as well. So that was really cool. That was that hike. I found the muley skull. It stunk to even hike with.
Yeah.
Because it was still nasty.
Delicious.
So then after I see, okay, there's not a lot of tracks up here. That's what I wanted to know. Are the elk frequenting here, or are they going to be on this other side? Are they looking for? Are you okay? You need to do a mic adjuster.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to distract you.
But how do you look?
I'm mostly
fabulous.
I just have that part of my face out of camera.
Luke Skywalker was in a movie called Corvette Summer.
You mean Mark Hamill, but yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, you know what I meant. Have you seen it?
No.
You just got the Corvette shirt on. It kind of looks like the cover of the.
It's possible
of the Corvette Summer. Anyway,
I get all my novelties at Walmart because they're $5-6.
So it's Friday night, and I think now the watering hole is kind of off the table. I don't want to go there anymore. I didn't see the tracks on the other side, and that was one of the things that compelled me to go that way. Is because why would I leave this hillside? There's just tracks everywhere. So, but now there's not, and so I'm going to get up and glass again. And if there's it's Saturday morning, if there's elk on the hillside, then I'll go after them.
Sure. So
we get up. I get up. There's only me. There's no we. I get up. I hike up on the hillside and I start glassing. And I'm looking at the same. I'm basically in the same place, looking at the same hillside, and I'm glassing and glassing, and I just don't see anything. But then I'm glassing, and I go, oh, there is an elk there.
Yeah.
Like almost dead center of the hill. There's there's no trees. There's some bushes.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of dead trees from a fire that had gone through there. But I'm like, okay, well, let's see where this guy goes.
Yeah.
But he looked really cool. And he was, I think, a 2x6. What I said in the video was he looks like a 2x6.
Yeah.
Because he's got one big main branch on one side and a brow tine.
Yeah.
And then he's got either 5 or 6 on the other side. Really cool.
Yeah.
Really, really cool look to him. And then so I'm glassing him, and I'm like, well, if he goes into the timber, I kind of know what he's doing, but he's just kind of staying in the same spot. And as I'm watching him, I think I even have it on my cell phone, and I'll show this on YouTube. He actually beds down.
Yeah.
Right in front of me. And so then I make a plan. And I make a plan with a little blade of grass. This will also be on YouTube, where I say, hey, there's
Oh,
an
yeah,
elk.
yeah.
There's an elk right here. My plan is to walk down the hill here. I'm going to lose sight of him, but I'm going to hike up the hill this way. I'm going to get below these rocks and I'm going to cut across. I'm going to run right into him.
Yeah.
If he stays there, I'm going to run right into him. So it's early in the morning. I sneak down the hillside. I glass every opportunity I can
to make sure. Yeah.
to make sure he's still there and to say, okay, how do I find him? How do I know where he is on the hillside? And there's this one big dead tree that it's black because it's all been burned.
Yeah.
And at the bottom of that, there's a couple of parallel logs that are trees that had fallen over.
Finding some place markers.
So I just had some place markers, and that one big black dead tree was my place marker. And I start moving. And I get down to the creek crossing, which I see now is a highway out of the pocket.
Yeah.
It
You told me that.
is, baby, it's pretty. Oh, man, I can find some places to hide there.
Yeah.
Really, really well. And I hike down to to the creek crossing. I cross the creek because there's no water high on the mountain. So they have to come down to the creek, and there's enough cover along this creek bed that I think elk can sneak down and get a drink of water without being seen. And it's not far from where we saw that giant bull on Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think I can almost see where you're talking about.
When I take you there, you go, yeah, this is what I pictured.
Because there's a ravine where that bull was laying down. You just follow that down. It's down right there, isn't it?
Where?
So the bull was on that hillside,
Yeah.
but he was where the hill kind of keeps slanting down towards the creek.
Yeah.
And it's like right down there, isn't it? We might.
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, between the water hole Jared was sitting and the wallow you were sitting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep,
It's
right
just
there.
like a center point.
Yep. And so I hiked down there. I found a couple things because I was stalking an elk. I didn't pick them up. I found a beer bottle, and I thought, okay, I'll come back and get that. And then everything changed. And then I saw a big pile of horse poop.
Huh.
So I'm kind of wondering how many people really do come in there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I hike across the creek and I get across the draw that probably has water in it 4 or 5 months out of the year.
Uh-huh.
And I'm working my way up and I'm climbing up to this and I am tiptoeing. I
Yeah.
mean, I am thoughtful of every breeze that hits me, every crunch, every step. I am moving super slow, super quiet, and I'm alone. And I hike up to just below. I'm just below this rock outcrop, and I'm about to come out of the trees and go below this rock outcrop to face where this bull is. And I see 2 guys.
Yeah.
And I can see their camo. And I'm like, why are people here?
Yeah.
This is really weird. But I'm like, I almost wanted to cow talk them, to just like give him a chirp. Hey, guys, I'm here. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
guys here. But I was so close to that bull.
You didn't
I'm
want to
like,
ruin that either.
I didn't want to ruin that. So I keep tiptoeing, and tiptoeing is paraphrasing, right?
Right.
You have to really step and stretch over logs, and there's noises you just have to make.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating. You're carrying water, you're carrying, a bow, you have all this stuff.
Yep.
But I keep walking and I step and I'm looking for this big dead tree. I'm looking for this tall dead tree and I see it and I go, man, he's got to be there. He's got to be right there. And on one of my bugles, I have 2 bugles, but on one of my bugles, I have a bulb, a push button bulb cow call. And I hit it, not even depressing it all the way. I mean, like 30%.
Yeah.
I mean, just the tiniest squeak. But when I did, he popped his head up. He was right where I thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
And I got a full draw. I'm like, oh, there he is, full draw. He is 35 yards away. I thought he was closer to 40, 35 or 40, but I had him ranged in there somewhere. But I get a full draw, and now I got to wait for him to stand up. And he's not moving. He's looking. And elk can really take their time.
Yeah, they can.
They don't have anywhere to be. You ever try to stare down a mule deer? You'll lose.
Yeah.
They can stare forever.
Yeah, we've been through those scenarios.
Oh, gosh. And so here I am staring at him, and I remember the feeling of my arm like about to go to sleep because I'm holding my bow at full draw for so long.
Yeah.
And
makes me think of a scene. I don't know if it's an added scene or a cut scene in The Gladiator. I know this is kind of an aside, but when you tell this story, I'm thinking of this scene where what's his name?
Russell Crowe.
No, not Russell Crowe. It's Joaquin Phoenix's character.
Oh, okay.
The Emperor. The Emperor. He's upset about something, so he's got some guys that he's going to execute, and he's got them up, and he's got his archers holding their recurves in position forever. And you can kind of see them shaking, and that was legit. Like they were there literally holding these strings back. So when you say that, I think of that scene. Sorry.
Yeah, and we've actually practiced that shot before. When we had time to practice, hey, let's pull back and hold it for 60 and see how accurate we are. That's good practice.
Yeah.
It was for me anyway.
Yeah.
So, but in that time, he's not standing up, and I'm not going to shoot him lying down.
Right.
I don't see enough of him. To shoot him lying down.
Got to have the right shot.
And he's not broadside.
Yeah.
So finally he stands up, and he's not broadside. And I remember telling myself, I might not get to take this shot.
Yeah.
There is still a point of return.
Yep.
Of just, he's going to bolt. He's going to jump. So he's going to move. He's quartering towards me a little bit. And I thought, okay, I'm just waiting for him to turn. If he turns a little bit, I'll let it go. And he does. He turns a little bit, and I let it go. And oh man, I hit him.
Yeah,
I hit him.
It's sorry, sorry. Keep telling your story, because you do something immediately after you hit him. You do what?
I pull my phone out.
Pull your phone out.
I pull my phone out.
And that's what I'm reacting to. What you showed me from your phone.
I just shot something. And I you'll see it if you go to YouTube. You want to see this guy fall over. He was not very far from me at all.
No,
when he fell over, he bolted as soon as he hit.
Shot.
I thought I saw my fletchings sticking out of him.
Yeah,
and I realized I don't have red fletchings.
Yeah, there were the wrong fletchings.
Those weren't they weren't anybody's fletchings. It was blood.
Oh, it was just blood.
It was blood spurting out of him. That I thought were fletchings.
So the arrow hit him and the blood spurting out.
I never found my arrow.
Yeah.
My arrow went all the way through him.
Yeah.
So it was a really solid hit.
Yes.
It was a little bit high, but I got both lungs, and he's down.
It's that classic shot when somebody has the right kill shot. The animal gets shot, turns, and then it's like their body stiffens up, their body falls over, and the legs go straight up in the air.
Yeah.
He just flopped.
Yeah.
So it was
he died fast.
I commend you for the shot. I mean, it was a great shot.
Yeah. Thank you. And I was very excited, and I was very worried, and I'm like, what am I going to do now? I am alone. I am 5 miles in. This thing it's so big. And I walk up on him, and I see an arrow sticking out of his butt.
Yeah.
I mean, his ham, his hind quarter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I really don't think he was quartering towards me that heavily.
Yeah.
And I take a closer look, but at first I go, "Oh, that's my arrow."
Yeah,
it was a bad shot. I'm an idiot, It was, and I step over it because you look at it, it's red, it's covered, the blood's fresh. But when I went back and looked at it, I go, "Oh my gosh, that is not my arrowhead.
Yeah,
that is not mine." But I pull that arrow out, and it's not long after, and I set up my phone to record. And I have I have a recording of the entire thing.
The breakdown of the animal.
From everything that happened pretty much since I walked up on it. It's boring, and I'll give you the high points, the summation.
Time lapse.
But I saw those other two hunters.
Yeah.
And I realized these guys were looking for this bull.
Yeah.
They were looking for this bull. That's why they were back there. Nobody's back there.
Yeah.
Ever.
But
they're back there. And I'm like, well, I'm going to notch my tag. And I did right then and there. As soon as I saw those hunters, I notched my tag. I know that one of those guys probably shot this bull, but I delivered the death blow.
Yeah. Which
no question on my phone.
No question.
I notched my tag. I'm laying claim to this bull. Although the the experience is not what I wanted. It's a little tainted, right? It's an assist. I got an assist on an elk,
and unintentionally, but you didn't know.
No,
and
I
you
didn't.
and things happen so quickly you couldn't put the pieces together. And you cover that. You'll either say something in regard to that today, but I know what you told me about it, and it's just it is what it is.
And I'm really okay with it. But I see these two hikers way up on the hill, and I'm waving to them. I'm like both hands, like please come down and talk to me. If there's going to be a confrontation, I'm here to be confronted.
Sure.
I'm not, if you can take me or you can take this animal and steal it from me, whatever.
Not sure what's going to go on.
I'm really not sure what's going to go on, but I'm confident in what my attitude is going to be.
Yeah.
And that is, I got a good kill shot and I can show you that. But anyway, they were so nice. They were so nice. And they approached me very tentatively. Very tentatively. And the first guy walks up, and when he's finally within earshot, the first thing I say is, I think you were looking for this guy. And he immediately backs down, like, well, I don't know. There's all kinds of elk in the mountains. And I go, well, I did find another arrow. I mean, I'm admitting right up front, this happened. I don't know why, and I'm sorry. And I was very apologetic. Like, if I would have known, if I could have put two and two together, I said on my phone, I go, man, that bull looks tired. Like he'd been rutting all night. He looked tired and dirty.
Yeah.
But he was wounded and bloody.
Yeah.
And those are some distinctions you can't make from.
But how many times have you come across this kind of scenario?
Never.
So there's no way to know. But it was cool that you're trying to be transparent about it,
100%.
And they were also sort of like, it is what it is,
right? And they were by the end of the day, and there was a couple of hunters from Utah, and they were surprised I was so deep in the woods. And I'm like, oh, let me tell you, because once they come down and you get past, right? Strangers are what friends are made of.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You get down, you get past the, who are you? What are you doing? Okay, cool. Listen, here's the deal. And we're just friends. We're just elk hunters. And it was Reggie and Jared were their names. Reggie was a emergency room. I don't want to say physician. I want to say practitioner.
Okay.
I think that's how we phrased it. Emergency room practitioner. And Jared is a building inspector, like a home building inspector.
Yeah.
If you want to do something to your home,
yeah,
you call Jared and he comes. Anyways, and these guys are up from Utah. And one of the first things I did, because of the conversations we've had on the Elk Season podcast, one of the first things I did was, oh my gosh, I love out-of-state hunters.
Yeah.
I just shower them with, you do not know how much I pay for the tags I have, but it's way less than you.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for out-of-state hunters. All the money you give to Idaho, man, it's
a dedication of sorts that you have to appreciate it. And there's I think there's a lot of misconceptions about out-of-state hunters, and some people certainly have bad experiences, but in general, they're typically cool.
Most people are nice.
I don't think I've run into any out-of-state hunters that have not been chill or cool.
Yeah.
Maybe a little awkward, but not
Sometimes.
bad.
I've come across as awkward to other hunters I know, having met them in the wilderness and being stressed from hiking and tired, and just you're hiking with your thoughts.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you meet somebody and your thoughts blob out, and you're like, oh, did I say that to that guy?
Yeah.
I sound like an idiot. It's a mess. But so Reggie, he realizes, well, this is kind of what they'd planned on doing all day. And they told me as much.
Yeah.
We kind of had our mindset on finding this bull and butchering him and packing him out.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing today. If it's your bull or his bull, doesn't matter. So all of a sudden, I got help.
Yeah.
I got two 30-something dudes who were helping me. And they honestly, they saved me a full day's work. 12 hours.
Yeah.
They saved me at least 12 hours.
Yeah. It's butchering an animal is no small feat. Doing it in the middle of nowhere with
and I was not prepared. I was not prepared to kill an elk, and for good reason. I haven't killed many elk.
Yeah.
So I'm not really prepared. I'm prepared enough, and I could have done it all by myself.
Yeah.
I could have done it all by myself. It would have taken me probably an extra day or two to get it all done but I could have done it. I'm very, very grateful for all the help they gave. And even Jared, the guy who shot the arrow, the guy who had the shot on the bull, got some pictures taken with him. I took the pictures.
Okay.
He's like, can I get some pictures? I'm like, yeah, let's get some pictures.
Yeah.
This is great. And then I went to, we packed it to camp. So once we got done butchering, we got front quarters, hind quarters, head, back straps, and loins. From all that, we packed that to camp. And really, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
That was a lot. It was very heavy. We actually stopped once we got down the mountain and across the creek. We left the head and one of the front shoulders up there because it was just too much.
Yeah.
When we got to camp, my whoop, I don't have my whoop on today.
Yeah.
It's disconnected. But my whoop registered a CrossFit workout.
Yeah.
Right. It's used to these high intensity 20, 30 minute, gorges of work. And that's basically what it was trying to carry. And I had, one guy had one half, one guy had another half. I had two halves and a head.
Yeah.
I left the head and brought the two halves up. And my whoop, legitimately registered. Hey, are you doing CrossFit right now? You're working really hard. So when we got to camp, we got unloaded and we started to relax. There's such a nice place there in the shade.
There's a nice little. We did.
It's so perfect.
Where we stopped and that's. If I go there again, that's probably where I'm going to go.
And these guys are from out of state, but you're from out of state, but you're standing next to me 5 miles in.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you every secret I know about this place, and I do, because I'd been hunting it for 12 years.
Yeah.
Almost a dozen years. And I've been in there so many times.
Yep.
I go, there's this place, there's this place, there's this place. And they were very grateful for all the knowledge.
A lot of good tips.
Super grateful for all the help. Because Reggie, I did not spend a lot of time with a knife on this bull.
No.
At all. Reggie did 95% of it.
Yeah. I wasn't there, but I can appreciate what that means because that's.
But he went about it as a guy that wouldn't be told no.
Yeah.
And you're okay with that. You're like, he knows what he's doing. He looks really comfortable. And as much as I wanted to go, just give me the knife and tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I just let him go. That's what he wanted to do. And he's like my wife. He just couldn't sit still. He couldn't sit still. We pack all this stuff up to camp. He starts boning.
Yeah.
He starts boning out the elk. And I start making quesadillas.
Yeah.
By the way, the number one TikTok in all my TikToks was a quesadilla I made with sour cream, guacamole for Jared, the guy who shot my bull before I did. He ate that.
Yeah, no,
he ate that quesadilla, and they were talking about quesadillas all day.
Yeah, no, that's the power of being good to other people in the world. You even amongst the I wouldn't say a controversy at all, but it's like this awkward scenario of the bull.
Yeah.
But being able to come together and still be respectful and have that, but then you give them a gourmet meal in the backcountry and they're from out of state. I mean, in the back,
it was pretty good. I don't know about gourmet, but the best quesadilla you're gonna find for at least 5 miles.
Stop! You're 5 miles in. You have people from out of state wondering how in the heck you're up there, and you make them a quesadilla not just with cheese and meat, but it's got sour cream.
Yeah.
And you packed sour cream and guacamole.
And it's got a buttery crisp. It's crispy and flaky. And
you can't tell me that's not gourmet.
Well, I appreciate
in that context.
I appreciate that.
And it made the difference.
It certainly did. And when we were up there processing the elk on the hillside, I told him, I go, oh man, if you guys really do help me back, I will make you a quesadilla with guacamole and sour cream. I don't know what their thoughts were. Like,
right?
What do you just boil 2 cups of water and pour it in a bag, and all of a sudden you got a quesadilla with sour cream and guacamole?
Mountain House makes that.
But I also had Spam singles. Reggie had a Spam single. He appreciated being a medical professional.
Yeah.
He appreciated the amount of sodium that's in a Spam.
Yeah. Yeah.
He goes, oh yeah, because both I showed him my hand, because I'd been doing stuff. When you pull on the hide and you pinch a lot, my thumb was seizing.
Yeah.
It was like, and I'm like, I can't really do anything. He goes, oh yeah, you better get some sodium. I gave both of them a quart of Gatorade.
Yeah.
By the way, great Gatorade hack.
Okay.
Great Gatorade hack. I don't know why I didn't do this before, but to put the Gatorade in a single serving sandwich bag, so all you have to do is pull off a corner and dump the whole thing in.
Yeah.
Instead of scooping.
Oh yeah.
Because I brought a whole Ziploc full and was scooping out, a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
Now I can bring.
They've got smaller bags that are. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now I can bring different flavors of Gatorade.
Yeah.
Oh, game just went up. Game just went up. That's what elk season's about.
Hey, that's a little carrot for next season.
That is. So I'm having Gatorade. I gave them some Gatorade, and at first they're like, "Oh no, I got some," and I mix some up, and I see them eyeballing it.
Yeah.
And they go, second thought, I'll take some Gatorade. Right? And I had Pop-Tarts.
Okay.
I had Pop-Tarts left over. So they had some Pop-Tarts, and I just, whatever I had. I was so grateful for all the help they gave me. And as we sat there, and I'm like, well, I'm telling these guys, I told my wife I'd call her by 9 o'clock tomorrow. So we have till 9 o'clock. I have till 9 o'clock tomorrow to get this bull out of there. And they're talking about going hunting some more. And I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah.
You guys have done enough. You have done enough. And they're like, no, we'll help you. I'm like, okay, if we get all this meat to the top of the draw, out of the gulch, it's so much work.
Yeah.
If you can help me do that, man, it's all downhill from there. So they do. They help me. And when we're standing there at the top of that gully in the gulch, and I'm like, well, we're here. Go ahead and just leave it here, and we'll hang it from a tree, and everything will be fine. And I have some pictures; those will be on YouTube as well. Some pictures with these guys who helped me hike right to the top. And but Reggie, they're like worried about me, right?
Sure.
I'm older than them. I'm heavier than them. I'm like, I'm talking like, I'm healthy because my wife's a CrossFit coach, which is a point I will remind you of because I don't look like I CrossFit. So I just have to tell you my wife's a coach. But I'm feeling really strong and really fit. And really, when we get to the top, I told those guys, it's all downhill.
Yeah.
It is all downhill from here. I can't think of anything other than what's on the Forest Service Trail, the little
right there towards the junction.
Yeah.
You go up before you go back down, and you keep going down again.
Yeah. There's hardly anything. So it's all downhill. And I told them that, and they were like, yeah, okay, I guess. And they had done so much.
Yeah.
And I'm like, please stop. You've done so much. I really appreciate it. And I said, here's what I'm going to do. My game plan is I'm going to hike back down to the gulch. I'm going to clean up camp and get all my gear. I'm going to hike up here, and then I'm going to do two different stages. I'm going to hike around the mountain, which is all pretty much level. There's a little bit of uphill around the mountain, and then from the mountain, I'm going to go down and cross the creek, and I'm going to stage there. Those are my first two stages. I don't know what time I'm going to make it, but I know those are my steps I want to take, because every step I take today is a step I don't have to take tomorrow. And remember, tomorrow I said I'd call the wife by 9. And I'm thinking
deadline.
And I'm thinking 3:30, 4 o'clock is when I'll be out of there. Okay,
that's what we're hoping.
But I hike all the way down. Once I get all the meat staged high in this gully on the the canyon side.
Yeah,
I hike down and cross the creek in the canyon. That's where I stay the night. Right when I cross there, I stay the night. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So, and that's a really good spot. We hiked there almost in the dark on Labor Day weekend.
Yep.
Up. So we hiked up and loaded in the dark.
Yep.
In just a couple hours. So it's a really, really good spot. But I know I've got my work cut out for me. And I know I've got to hike up the hill again twice in the morning.
Yeah.
And I've got to hike down the mountain 3 times. So I wake up, it's 8 o'clock. I'm just, I sleeping in the hammock, and I'm just waiting for it to be light enough. That's all. Just get light enough, and I'll start work. I'll get to work. I'll get up and have a little bit of breakfast. And by the way, I'm out of food at this point. I gave so much food to Reggie and Jared. Gratefully, happily. I am like, I don't have a genuine meal left.
Yeah.
I had my last meal, my last bag of potatoes, that Saturday night.
Okay.
And I was so exhausted from working, I almost didn't feel like eating.
Yeah.
But I knew, buddy, you got a
eat.
lot of work to do tomorrow. You're going to need every calorie you get. So I force-fed myself, and the next morning I woke up. I checked the time, and I made tons of videos that I know nobody's going to want to see, but it's mostly for the time.
Yeah.
Right? It's this time. I'm leaving now to go up to this place. Okay, I made it to this place. It's this time now. I'm hiking back down to this place. And I did that a bunch of times. I hiked up twice. I started hiking at 8:30. I got the last load of meat to the car at 7:30 p.m.
Wow.
No big deal. I still got 90 minutes. I'm probably 40 minutes from the grid where I can call my wife.
Yeah.
No problem. I got all the meat. I got everything. And I literally made a list, and I do have that video where I'm like, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to get down to I'm taking the last load of meat. When I get to the car, I'm peeling off my socks. You see that video on TikTok. And I'm putting my Crocs on, and I'm wading straight into the creek to cool my feet off. Then I got to filter water because I'm also out of water.
Yeah.
But I'm hiking with enough water to drink, and that's it. I don't want anything extra.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to lighten the load with every step I get. So I wish I had Gatorade. I had half a Powerade, like piss warm Powerade in the back of the car. And I'm like, oh, the first time I got to the car, I'm like, guzzle. Okay, let's get back on the road. And literally, I did not take a break that was longer than 10 minutes.
Yeah, you just...
For 11 hours.
Yeah.
And I had no meal. I had snacks. I had granola. I had Spam singles. By the end of the trip, I was eating just plain flour tortillas because I had extra flour tortillas.
Gotta do what you gotta do, man.
And they were so good. A plain flour tortilla. I'm telling you.
When that's all you got, it's good. It tastes amazing.
Heaven. It was like, I'm like, first of all, I'm about to tear into this. I tear into this like I'm like, oh God. And then as soon as I'm done with it, I'm like, where's another one?
Right.
That was good. So I finished my tortillas. Once I get my socks peeled off, I get the Volkswagen started. And I start to make a video, and the Volkswagen dies. It just stops running.
Oh, no.
Mysteriously.
Yeah.
It's a diesel. It just stopped. I don't know. It just stopped running. And it won't start. And I got to call the wife by 9.
And what time was it again?
It was 7:30.
7:30.
Maybe 7:45, about that time when the Volkswagen died. And yes, I'm in the Volkswagen. I made a TikTok on that too.
Yeah.
Because it's 3 hours to the trailhead, 3 hours back. I did both of those things, drove all week long, and spent $52 in fuel. So that's why I took the Volkswagen.
Before prices were starting to come down.
Right. But either way, if I can fit it in a backpack, I can fit it in a Volkswagen.
Yeah.
So I'm really not worried. If I have to strap a big 6x6 to the top of a Volkswagen, hey, I'm that kind of redneck.
Yeah.
I will take so many pictures. I mean, I'm so thankful I did not have to do that.
Yes.
But I thought I was close.
Yeah.
If he would have been a full 6x6,
yeah, it would have been there.
If he would have been the same on the other side as he is on that side, yeah, he wouldn't have fit in the Volkswagen. So I realized I had to put socks and shoes back on and start hiking to find help. I got to call my wife.
Yeah.
Before she calls the cavalry.
Yeah.
So I had to. And there's no traffic. There's nobody at occasionally there's a little bit of traffic there, but I put my socks on. I start walking, and the first camper I see with lights, I knock on the door. It's a guy named Bob. He is the owner of the Ace Hardware in Arco, Idaho.
Nice.
And he is like, well, yeah, let's see if we can get you down to some cell service. But before we got to cell service, and he jumps in the car. He helps me. Everybody's so nice. We jump in the car, and he's like, well, I know there's some people here that have a telephone, so we can just stop and borrow their phone. So we did. Their last name was the Reeses.
Okay.
That's an easy last name to remember. That's my favorite. The Reeses. And I'm talking to Becky. I finally get a hold of her. It is 8:40. It's 20 minutes. I know. I know she's about to freak out.
Yeah.
I mean, I told her by 9.
Yeah,
and I call her
that
from
close.
a stranger's phone.
Yep.
And normally she answers because her phone is the phone for the CrossFit gym.
Yeah.
Normally she answers it as a representative of the CrossFit gym.
Yeah.
But she just goes, "Hello?" And I go, "Hey, Becky, it's Harold. I'm fine. I got to bowl down the cover." Anyways, we get arrangements to get somebody up there to tow me out. To just a tow dolly to pull the Volkswagen. But in the meantime, I mentioned to her how hungry I am, and the Reese's, the guys that who let me use their phone, they have a deli sandwich in their fridge.
Yeah,
and they go, "We got this." It's like half. It's like leftover.
Yeah.
And I go, "If you're serious, I will murder that sandwich," and I murdered it. Yep. And I didn't even feel it. Anyways, we make all the arrangements. Thank you so much to the Reese's, and thank you so much to Bob, Ace Hardware, and Arco. There's good people wherever you look, and some of the best, of course, absolutely. Are in Idaho. Small towns, they just so helpful.
Everywhere.
So Bob takes me back to my car, and the first thing I do is try and start it. It does not start, but it chugs once.
Yeah, like
to tease me.
What's up, buddy?
And I'm like, okay, so I guess I'm spending the night here. I take all the meat out of the Volkswagen and I strap it to the ski rack and flop it over the side, which means there's big blood stains now on the side of the Volkswagen. And so I can put my sleeping bag and stuff, and I'm just gonna collapse. I got a little bit of food. I'm just gonna eat some stuff and fall asleep. Actually, I did have 6 powdered donuts. I had a 6-pack of powdered donuts.
Oh my!
I was saving it. I am not going to eat that till I'm on my way home.
Yeah,
that was a very special treat.
A very specific treat.
Very specific. I'm not going to eat it. It's not for dinner.
It is the ride home.
I had hot cocoa. I was going to go back, have my hot cocoa and donuts, but I was going to wait until I'm in bed.
Yeah.
So I have I got my sleeping bag in. I got everything out of the car. I got my sleeping bag in the car, and I go, you know what? One more time, let's try to start it.
We come from a town that has what's called a Last Chance Gulch, and that was sort of formed by the people who were the gulch is named after by saying, let's just try one more.
One last chance.
It's part of our DNA.
One last chance.
And tell us what happened on this last chance.
Well, the Volkswagen started. So I took all my gear and all the elk meat and threw it right back in there.
I just laugh because I remember you telling me the story before, but it was really coming home. Like, I know we're going, and I don't remember all the details of everything coming back out of your vehicle, only to find out that it's going to go right back in your vehicle.
Right back in. And I wasn't mad either way. Just like, right? I already took it out. All right, whatever. I was so defeated at that point. Yeah. There was one point, there's an old flatbed Ford that's on that trail.
Yeah.
And there was one point where I stopped. It was the very last load out. I stopped and just to every time I put a pack on with meat on it.
Yeah.
I said, oh my God. Every time. I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing to myself? I'm hiking downhill and full and uphill and empty. Every time I'm hiking uphill, I'm like, oh, this mountain sucks. Every time I'm hiking downhill, I'm like, oh, this is so heavy.
Yeah.
And there was no respite, but there's this old flatbed, and I think, oh, I just rest for a second. And I set it down, and I think to myself, I could just fall over on this flatbed and sleep just for a few minutes.
Just a couple.
No, I better not.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I didn't. You get it over with. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. So anyways, I'm munching on my donuts. It's 10 something at night. I'm munching on my donuts. I'm driving back to town, and there is a game check station.
Game check station at what time?
After all that, 10:33.
10:33.
I'm looking at my clock. It says 10:33 p.m. on a Sunday, and there's blue lights flashing, and there's a sign, game check station, and I'm like, I am so tired. Whatever story I have from this elk is not well rehearsed.
Yeah.
So these guys are gonna get the first dose of it. But here I am. I just think it's funny because here's these guys, this game check station, and here I come in a Volkswagen Jetta sport wagon.
Yeah.
And I roll my windows down, and they they looking in like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, well, good, man. I got one. Can I get out and show you?
Yeah.
And so I just got out and started talking to him and had a wonderful exchange with the game check station.
Hold on.
Yeah. Did it quit on you?
It did.
Okay.
We're rolling again. I'm not sure why that happened. Okay. I wonder if it's because I forgot to delete the video from the last time.
Oh.
And it has not enough video. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. Well, anyways, I drove home. I contacted you in the morning.
Yeah.
I think.
Was there anything else about? I thought you were talking about the exchange with the wardens. I don't know if was anything else you wanted to talk about with that or.
No, nothing particular. I had a great. They were such nice guys, and I crossed my fingers. I hope I did everything right, and we moved past that.
Okay, no, that's fine.
And I got home and. And I'm okay. Everything's fine. The guy who was going to come pick up my Volkswagen, who was ready, Caleb. He's one of the. My wife's friends with his wife. Yeah, that's why we're friends. But he'll do anything for you. He's such a nice guy. And but I called him and said, "Hey, got to worry about coming to get me tomorrow. I'm fine." And I'm sure he was like, "Oh,
thank goodness, he's
that idiot." He was giving me a hard time for hunting in a Volkswagen. Like, would it make you feel better to be towing a full-size truck back? I don't get it.
I don't know.
Anyway,
some folks just have.
He just wanted to give me a hard time for something.
Yeah.
So he did, and I remember the last call I made to you on Thursday as I drove out, or it might have been a text.
It was a text.
It was a text. I said, "I'm going to get one this weekend. Next weekend's all you."
Yeah, and that's what
I was feeling it. I was really feeling it.
And we'll talk about that in the next podcast.
You want to save that? I'm sorry. I talked for an entire hour
it's
about this.
It's an hour and 1 minute. So
I know.
It's all right, though. I think it's kind of fitting for whatever weird, strange, delusional reason I have.
Yeah.
We're to the point where, because the season really was the focus on you. You went out every weekend.
Yeah.
Every weekend. You had a harvest. You had an amazing opportunity to hang out with me and Jared and that on Labor Day weekend, but then you got this individual experience. You met those folks from Utah, right? All of that. And what's surprising is we only have a very short hunt on the last weekend that we were able to go out.
Super short.
But we could fill the next podcast with that. I think there's so many details and things.
Yeah, we could.
And things to summarize because there's lessons.
Yeah, you're right.
That came full circle.
You bet.
Circle for us. Sorry.
You bet they did.
And to me, as limited as the amount of time we had to get out there.
Yeah.
It was one of the most powerful hunts I've ever had.
Ever.
It was
surreal.
I know.
I try to balance weekend 4 with weekend 3. They're so close.
Yeah.
They're so close. And I harvested on weekend 3.
Yeah.
And weekend 4, we just had an encounter. And it was so intense. The intensity of it was so close and
there were some
fantastic.
other things too. It's just I think it's let's hang that carrot out there and we'll talk about it in a week. Or the next time, that is. Because sometimes it's not the next week.
Whenever that may be. You never know.
I don't know. So.
We're shooting for Thursday again.
Yeah.
It is Thursday. I'll try to get this up by the weekend. And until then, hey, thanks everybody.
Cheers.
Does that wrap it up?
It does. I think that's
pretty much it. That gets me. I
forgot to do the little snap check on the
That's okay.
Reshoot,
your phone actually divides. You have 2 videos
typically, but it stopped and I had to restart it. So I don't know what that's going to mean. It might be 3 this time.
So on your second one, you never have a clap, and I just have to guess because there's a gap there. It's not an instantaneous. It's like 28 frames or something. I got to count.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. I live with it.
I don't do it automatically. It just does it automatically.
None of our fans have complained.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
So we're good. Have a great week. I know it's still hunting season. I did see a post this week from a rifle hunter who's been hunting elk since he was 14. He killed a cow one time a long time ago. This year, he's 51 and got his first bull.
Wow.
So we're not alone.
No.
We're not alone. We're in good company.
Yes.
We're in good company.
All around.
And stay tuned for more good company from the Elk Season Podcast. Have a great week or 2 weeks or whatever it ends up being.
Cheers. Be well.
Be well.